This is a short video explaining Bloom's Taxonomy, which is one of my favourite models. It's blooming good stuff, and we are going to make this model, this great model, look really easy. This model was created in 1956 by Benjamin Bloom and his colleagues. Essentially, there are three domains. When he named those three domains, I believe he shot himself in the foot, but it wasn't the first time. The first time he shot himself in the foot was by calling it Bloom's Taxonomy. Taxonomy simply means classification. The first domain, the cognitive domain, is all about knowledge. It's stuff that you have in your head. The second domain, the psychomotor domain, is all about skills. It's the stuff that you do, that you can see people doing. And the final one is the affective or attitudinal domain. And this is about how you do things. Let's look at each of the domains in turn using a simple example to illustrate. Let's look at the cognitive domain first of all. And we're going to use the example of learning about data protection principles. At the simplest level, you may just require people to recall the principles. At the next level, you'd want them to understand them, and they'd have to demonstrate that understanding. At the next level, going deeper, you'd want them to be able to apply those principles. Going deeper, you'd want them to be able to identify areas within the business, perhaps that they are not complying. At the fifth level, they would be able to, because of their knowledge, build a policy or a process around it for their organisation. And the final and sixth level is about selecting the best methods of applying those principles. Moving on to the psychomotor domain, this is all about skills. I'm going to use an example of baking a cake with your mum to illustrate how you might look at the different levels within that domain. At the most simple level, you'd just be able to copy what your mum is doing. At the next level, you'd be able to follow her recipe and her instructions. At the next level, level 3, you'd get reliable results from being able to make a cake. At the fourth level, you'd be able to combine some of these skills with others that you'd learned, perhaps in making a pie or something else that you'd done with your mum. And at the final level, you become so natural and great at baking a cake, you make it like Nigella Lawson, a famous cook here in the UK. The third and final domain is the affective domain, and this is to do with attitude. And I'm going to use the example of great customer service to illustrate this example. At the lowest level, you would expect people to be just aware of their own attitudes, so that's self-awareness. At the next level, at a deeper learning, then they would be changing some of their behaviour. At the third level, they would see value in that change and act. At the fourth level, it starts to affect their own beliefs. They start to live out those behaviours. And finally, at the top level, level number 5, they become a role model. So you would expect somebody who is senior within an organisation to be at that level, role modelling great behaviour. What I really love about Bloom's Taxonomy is that it's a fantastic framework for setting objectives in those three domains for knowledge, skills and attitudes. For each of the domains and for each of the levels, there are recommended verbs that you can use. This means that when you start setting objectives, it becomes a lot easier because you've got a choice of different verbs you can use according to the different levels of learning in the domains of Bloom's Taxonomy. So I hope you've enjoyed this short video. I absolutely love this blooming model. It's fantastic. It really does help. It also can help in needs analysis as well when you are questioning people about learning outcomes, when you want to find out what level of learning people need to actually achieve.